Welcome to the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, where rude mechanicals do magic. Hello, I'm Bronze Age, Director of the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage. And today we're taking on one of my favorite kinds of projects, the basket case. What we have here is a 70s, early 80s vintage decorator lamp known as the lotus lamp. It has a globe that goes here, which of course imitates the lotus flower. That's still with the customer. Always a good policy unless you absolutely need to have a piece of glass on your bench. And as you can see, no switch. And that is because this was a touch lamp. Customers asked us to abandon this piece, and that's perfectly fine with me. A few more pieces here, and then the culprit. This is the base weight, which goes in here, and it's made of concrete, some kind of cement with a plastic jacket on it. And this is what happens to them. This little thin part here where the pipe goes through is very weak, falls apart, breaks apart, and then you have a lamp that just simply collapses right there on the table, leaving you little chunks of cement all over the place. Now, back in my car days, I used to have customers come in all the time with the engine partially disassembled or something like that, and they got in over the head. They couldn't fix it, and they'd want a discount for having taken it apart. I said, no, it doesn't work that way. This is a very common failure, and it's the reason that most of these lamps are now in landfills. But we're going to rescue this one, which is going to require not only repair, but some re-engineering as well, so that the same thing doesn't happen again. The repair starts with the base weight, which I'm going to put this washer back in place, hold it down with a little bit of tape. And the repair material is going to be body filler. This is just a two-part compound. Mix it with this hardener and smear it all over the thing, and it hardens up. And for our application, this will be just fine. Now, it takes a half an hour to an hour for it to get hard, and when I say that, I mean really hard. Any shaping needs to be done. Knock down these high spots here. Should be done before it gets fully hard. After that, you're going to need like a grinder or something with a coarse sanding disc on it. But at this point, it's fairly easy to knock it down. And now that the repair is finished, we'll move on to the re-engineering. Now, the reason this lamp broke in the first place is because this pipe goes down through here, and it's got a nut on the bottom of it, but there's a gap in between. And what that means is when you tighten it down, this lightweight sheet metal flexes, this brittle concrete cracks, comes up, and the whole thing comes apart. Now, to solve that problem, I'm going to fill that gap with a spacer and a coupler. And we'll put a small short nipple on the end of it so that we can tighten it all down. always put the blue thread lock on the threads when I'm assembling a lamp. Start off with a washer here. The spacer. Another washer. Then the coupler. And this is just a little piece of hardware you can use to make a pipe longer when you need to, provided you got the room. And I have to pay attention to where this cord bushing goes, because I want it to the back, which way the lamp goes. And since I've got the pipe and the base together like this, it makes it a little difficult. It'd be nice if I had a third hand to hold the two pieces together. With the thread lock on there, I don't have to get it incredibly tight to make sure it's going to stay in place. Then I look, see the channel where the wire is supposed to go. There we go. Now it's time to start putting it back together. And that starts with a cord protector, a little plastic cap that goes over the end of that steel pipe. And run the cord through another cord protector. I didn't put that on there, but if it hadn't been there, I would have put one. Get it through. Then I tie a knot in it. And you could just do a simple overhand knot, but I prefer the Underwriter Laboratory knot, which comes out like this little pretzel. And what it does is it keeps the cord from getting pulled out of the lamp if someone trips over it in the dark. Very important safety thing, because if you grab the cord and yank it out of the lamp, you've got two hot wires right there, possibly even touching the metal parts of your lamp, and you go to pick it up, you're going to get shocked. Now, on all American lamp cords, one side has ridges in the insulation, one side is smooth. And as we come here, we see we've got a white wire and a black wire. Well, the smooth side always goes to the black wire. And when I twist them together, I want to make sure that they're fully intertwined, not just one wrapped around the other. That's how you get a really good connection. Like that. And I heat up the soldering iron, and we'll be ready to solder this. I'm using rosin core solder here, which is the proper solder for any kind of electrical work. The rosin is a flux or a detergent that washes the wire clean when it's hot. Make sure there's no oil or grease on it, which might help prevent you from getting a good connection. Let them cool off for a little bit. Check to make sure there's no sharp points on them. And then I have shrink tubing, which is just a special kind of plastic, which, of course, as the name says, it shrinks. Put it over each of my connections here. And heat it up, a little torch. And we have everything we need inside here done. Now the last thing we have to do is install a cord switch. This is what this tape is marking, or the customer wants it put in. And cord switches come in a variety of colors. Most people want the switch to match the cord. Some people want a contrasting color just so they'll be able to find it easier. But they're easy to install. Just take a little bit of care, like everything else when working with electrical stuff. The switch comes apart, and there's a little nut on the bottom side of this screw. You don't want to lose that. Now inside the switch, there's a piece with these two barbs, and that's going to pierce your wire, and the switch is going to be between those two. So it's always installed with the barbs going into the smooth wire on the cord. And you have to make sure you get all the wires cut through, but don't cut through the other side. Lay it down in the bottom shell, just like that, nice and flat. And the top piece goes on. Squeeze it tight, find that little nut, and then you tighten it down. Well, it helps if you get the little nut in the switch to begin with. That's much better. This is Bronze Age for the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, and thank you for sitting all the way through this video about how to fix a lamp weight base. And appreciate if you would push the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We put out one video a week. I'd really like to see you again next week. And again, thanks for watching.